stand up for what I believe in, and sometimes I find myself on the wrong side of the law for doing that.
I've been charged with trespassing twice. Where did I trespass? I climbed up on the British Parliament.
Just before the world leaders were supposed to meet in Copenhagen to agree on a climate-saving deal, I climbed up the British Parliament to tell the world leaders that they should stop their dirty politics and instead focus on saving the climate.
हम तो कहीं गया है वहाँ ये समझ के पर चढ़ा उतर तो एकदम शॉर्ट जैसा है.
I courted arrest after 27 hours. I was convicted of trespassing a protected monument and fined £100. The second incident is, for the first time ever in this country, anyone climbed up a chimney of a coal power plant and painted smoking kills on the outer shell of the chimney. As expected, we were arrested. That was the first time when I spent 4 days in a prison cell, sharing our prison cell with murderers, rapists, all sorts of people. Very clearly looked like we did not belong there. Finally, I had the courage to ask someone, what's happening? Why are we being treated differently in there? This guy told us, you did something because my kids will have a better future. Your actions are nothing less than God will do for me after a lot of prayers. So you are nothing less than God's for us. And I was swelling with pride and I had tears in my eyes. We were just dumbstruck, all four of us.
When nothing's left in the vessel and you scrape, that was my childhood. This here, guys, is the only English medium school that my parents could afford at that time. No comic books. The school didn't have any sport facilities. They just barely could manage hand to mouth and doing part-time jobs. When other kids who have it in a good way, born with a silver spoon, these kind of harsh realities they only see in movies. I grew up with this, and that's given me a perspective that any situation, I'm always prepared for the worst. I think I was 13 years old in 1992 when the Babri Masjid riots broke out. We used to stay right here. This was a house, and this lane has only about 4 houses of Hindus. Rest all are Muslims. We were in the thick of the riots when every day, we used to just go hide under the bed, and all we could hear was bricks, soda bottles, tube lights being thrown from all these higher elevated areas. We decided that we have to get out of here. The only possession that we had was a little National Panasonic transistor and one Mangal Sutra that my mom had. My dad decided to stay back because this is home. This is where we grew up. There were threats that the mobs were looking to burn down houses, and since he spent all his life here in a Muslim-dominated area, no one thought that he was a Hindu, and a Hindu mob put a sword on his neck. They wanted to kill him. And that's when one of the neighbors from the opposite houses who knew some of the people from the Hindu mob, she told them that no, he's one of us, and that's how he survived. Non-violence is something which Greenpeace has taken from Gandhiji. It's impulsive and very easy to immediately retaliate with violence when you face violence, but it takes a lot of courage to resort to that violence with non-violence. No, never ever an instance of a Greenpeacer or a volunteer or an activist with Greenpeace using violence in any form, not even gesture. That's one of the core strengths. That's why Greenpeace is what it is all around the world. Greenpeace does not take any fundings from corporations or government agencies. Hundreds of thousands of people like you and me, they pay money from their monthly salary so that we keep doing what we do best. What gives me immense joy is individuals, irrespective of class, financial background, religion, anything. An individual, when he or she starts believing that my actions are contributing towards a greener, cleaner, safer planet, that's something which inspires you. If only there were a billion people like him or her, I won't have a job, but I won't care. It's ironical that my country, which is hell-bent on destroying whatever biodiversity we have left in the country, is hosting a conference on biodiversity where the world leaders will be sitting around a table and discussing about trees, forests, animals. I mean, you and I have rights, but what about the rights of our forests? I don't see any of our leaders who's going to be speaking for them. So I've got an idea. I'm going to be spending 1 month with a tree which is going to be gone very soon. Greenpeace is aiming at mobilizing 1 million voices to save the forest through an online petition, which I plan to deliver once I get off the tree to our leaders in October. Let's show our leaders that 1 million voices cannot be ignored.